Hi guys, it's Miss Moxie, and I wanted to give you a few tips on how to get started if you're stuck on the mapping project that we're doing, especially taking the Explorer's field notes and then analyzing those, breaking them up bit by bit, getting all the little clues from those Explorer notes, and then putting those onto an actual map. This is an example of an alphanumeric grid system. It's called alpha because it has letters on the bottom, and then numeric because it has numbers on the side. This is going to help you piece together the island using the notes. Let's take a look at the notes first. So here we are in the instructions page, and you would want to click on field notes here, click on that, and that's going to open up the Explorer's field notes. So we're pretending that an explorer on a sailboat, because this is in 1718, arrived at an island that nobody had ever made a map of before. And they took notes of everywhere they went, what the weather was like, what they saw, what they noticed, and some coordinates too. Like you see this right here, G2, that's an important coordinate that you want to keep in mind. You have to analyze these notes. To analyze them, that means to read them, break them apart step by step, write down, squeeze out all of the information from these notes that you can in order to make a map. So let's read the first paragraph together. It's currently 83 degrees with winds from the southwest at 5 knots. I have traveled a great distance in this deserted island. Okay, right away we know that the weather is somewhat warm because it's 83 degrees. We can assume Fahrenheit, and that there's some soft winds at 5 knots from the southwest. This person has traveled a long way, and the island is deserted. That means that nobody's on the island. All right, so that's what we've gotten so far. Now, when we keep reading, it says, we approach the new island entering into a bay, also known as Crabby Bay, at G2. They're approaching in a sailboat. This is an island, so you can assume that they're in the water and they're entering into a bay. Let's take a look at what a bay is. So if you're confused about words, just use your Google and look up some different pictures. A bay is sort of like a protected area. It's still part of the ocean, but it's more protected. It's not like right out in the ocean. So these are some different pictures of what a bay is. If an island's more inhabited, oftentimes people dock their boats in a bay, just like this picture right here. You see some different boats in there. I wouldn't expect that in this island because it's deserted. They're the only people on it right now. The other piece of information that you get from that sentence is that the name of the bay is Crabby Bay. That's what the explorer named it. And that it's at location G2. So I've taken some notes here about the weather, that nobody's on the island, and where Crabby Bay is. It's at G2. So I'm going to be able to take those notes and make a rough draft of my map starting here at G2. Where G and 2 intersect, I'm going to write Crabby Bay. That's all I know so far, so I'm just literally writing Crabby Bay in the location where the notes say it is. Then I'm going to, all right, so we're right here. As we entered the bay from the south, our eyes had set on the western side of the island, observing a mountain called Jules Mountain, estimated at 457 feet tall, E3. All right, again, that sentence gave us a lot of information. So on my notes, I was like, all right, they're entering from the south of the island. So they're on the south side of the island. They looked west, so you need to know which direction west is, and they saw Jules Mountain. I drew these contour lines here to remind you that you already know, you're making a topographic map, and you already know that when contour lines go around contour lines go around contour lines, that means a mountain. So you're probably going to have something like that eventually when you make your finished copy of this map. The other hugely important piece of information that they gave you was the elevation at E3, and they put the elevation as 457 feet. Elevation is a big deal when you're making a topographic map, right? So you have all that information there in your notes, and then here on your map you're going to find E, go up to 3, and then put in there, I would write down something like Jules Mountain, and then put the elevation at 457. This is a little rough writing in Sharpie because it's so like thick. I'd be using a pencil right now for this. But generally speaking, you know that they're coming in on the south side. They look to the west, they see Jules Mountain, and you have the elevation there. So this is your rough draft. It doesn't matter if it's pretty or not. Let's look at the next sentence. As we approached land, we noticed the beach. Okay, there's a beach near the bay. That's a big landform item that you would want to note. Was heavily vegetated. Okay, lots of beach vegetation. Probably not trees. I mean, maybe some palm trees because it is sort of temperate, but it's vegetated with something. Continuing 3 miles west from Krabby Bay, the island was covered in rainforest. So 3 miles west is all rainforest. We camped for the night at that location, 3 miles west, waiting for a new day to explore the island. Let's look at, again, if you don't know what a rainforest looks like, you want to be looking that up online. Hey, Tony, how are you? Yeah, totally. So here's some different pictures of rainforest if you're like not familiar with what that looks like. A rainforest has tons of rainfall and tons of vegetation, and it's usually warm. So that gives you an idea of what sort of thing you would want to put on your map. So again, here are the notes that I'm taking on that. 3 miles to the west, you see a rainforest. Then you would want to go onto your rough draft of your map and indicate that 3 miles to the west of Krabby Bay, you have a rainforest. Maybe you don't know the exact scale right now because you haven't read the whole field notebook, but you're just placing things approximately where you think they might be on your rough draft of your map. So I went over the whole first paragraph here with you and show you how to analyze each sentence and pull information from it and then put that into a rough draft on your map. Your job is to continue to go through each of these daily diary entries from the explorer and continue to analyze what his notes say. Put those, I would take notes on them personally, and then I would put that into my rough draft. All right, so that should be enough to get you started. If you're still really confused, definitely let me know and we can talk about how you can analyze those notes together. All right, see you in a little bit.